Calling case number 2016-06-1953 and case number 2017-01-0368. Judge, both cases are entitled State of Ohio versus Derrick Sales. Mr. Sales is present in court today with attorney Chuck Quinn. We're here today for sentencing in this case. The state's prepared to go forward. I do have a few things I'd like to say before we begin, and then the victim's mother would also like to address the court at the appropriate time.
All right, the defendant has the last word, so the state goes first.
Your Honor, we do have an agreed 8-year prison sentence in this case for Mr. Sales based on the charges that he pled to. It's a justified sentence in this case, and here's why. Mr. Sales was alleged, and he pled no contest to, and was found guilty of selling fentanyl to Sheena Moore and her boyfriend Chris Scott. Unfortunately, those demons that Miss Moore fought and the addiction that she fought throughout her life eventually cost her her life. Judge, the state feels as though Mr. Sales, in a lot of ways, is like a grim reaper. He sells her those drugs. He knows that he caused her death, and then he was later arrested with fentanyl and carfentanil in his room. So that 8-year prison sentence, Judge, we feel based on the facts and the evidence in the case, the strengths and weaknesses of the evidence in the case, is appropriate. Your Honor, I have had an opportunity to meet with Brenda Ryan, the victim's mother in this case. We met with her extensively throughout this matter. I talked with her about the pros and the cons of going to trial, the strengths and weaknesses of the evidence in this case. She's always expressed to us that she feels that these cases, these involuntary manslaughter cases, should receive more harsh sentences or sentences that are stronger in nature. She understands, though, the strengths and weaknesses and the evidence in this case and approved of this plea offer in this matter throughout the case, and that's why we went ahead with this plea. Judge, in analyzing the facts in this case and the evidence in this case, we feel as though the surety of a conviction and the solace that Mr. Sales is going to be in prison for the next 8 years without the opportunity to sell these drugs on the streets is something that we feel comfortable with and something we can live with. So we'd ask you to impose an 8-year prison sentence on the involuntary manslaughter charge, impose other sentences in regards to the trafficking of drugs charge and the having a weapon while under a disability charge, run those sentences concurrently for a total of 8 years, the agreed upon sentence in this case. Judge, we'd ask you to forfeit the U.S. currency in this matter that he also pled guilty to as part of his drug sales, and, Your Honor, the firearm in this case, which was stolen, we'd ask that upon proof of ownership that be returned to the victim, Hugh Law. That's all I have at this time, Judge, and I think the victim's mother at this time would like to address it.
Want him to step aside?
Good morning.
So I'll just need you to state your full name and say your last name for the record, please. And then you'll address the judge.
My name is Brenda Ryan. Today has been a day that I have been dreading for the last 10 long months. The day that I stand before the court to put into words how my daughter, Sheena Moore's death has affected my family. How do I explain in words what a beautiful soul my daughter was? How she never judged anyone, how she was so kind, how her purpose in life was to take care of people, and how compassionate she was. What a hard worker she was, always working, taking care of others, and the kind, loving way she took care of her patients. How she loved her son with all of her heart. What a loving, kind mother she was. How do I explain how we face every day not getting to hear her voice or hold her hand? How her 6-year-old son will never be able to call anyone mom again. How I will try to take her place as his mom and try to be the loving mom that she would have wanted him to be. how he will never have his mom at his graduation, wedding, or any other things that a mom should be with. Today, this dealer is going to get the very light sentence of 8 years. This dealer that was on parole for a previous prison sentence sold fentanyl to my daughter and many other people. After being arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, this dealer was able to make a cash bail, then drive around in a BMW with pockets full of cash because he was still dealing this death, this time with fentanyl and carfentanil, with no regards of who he was killing with his deadly product and who he may have killed that we don't even know about yet. This dealer has no regards or respect for any laws or respect for any human life. These are the kind of people that will never be able to be part of society. These kind of people will take a life because they have no regards to anyone, only worrying about the loads of cash in their pocket, driving around in a car probably nicer than any of us drive around that actually work. I ask you to reconsider the 8-year plea and give this menace to society the maximum sentence that could be imposed on him. Until then, I will continue to fight for longer sentences for these death dealers. I will continue to fight to help families that have been affected by these senseless deaths, and I will fight to help addicts get away from this horrible life that they are leading. I will do this in Sheena's name and all the other souls that have lost their lives to this disease. And as the last words of my daughter's obituary reads, Sheena would not want us to cry. She would want us to fight.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Prosecutor?
Okay.
Mr. Boyd, anything you want to say before the court closes sentence?
You know, Your Honor, I debated saying some things about my own personal experience in this area. That's what's happened to my family, very similar to what's happened to the family in this case. I've shared that with my client. My client and I have had long discussions about the impact of this activity. I think he's gained a huge amount of insight over the past 3 months of me just talking to him about this. My own experience parallels this experience that we're talking about today. Mr. Sales is part of the equation. He's not the only part, but he is a crucial part of the equation. He understands that at this point. We ask the court to inquire of Mr. Sales.
All right, Mr. Sales, is there anything you want to say before the court closes sentence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Catch my breath. I want to send a sincere apology to the loved ones, family, friends, and Sheena. I understand the impact and the effect that it has of Sheena's loss on their family. I can say Sheena made the good times memorable and the bad times bearable. And during my sins, and like, before let me take it back some. The conversation I have had with my attorney, Charles Sutherland, definitely gave me a better outlook on opiates and any other addiction that we have. You know, we deal with it. There's no excuse for it. You know, but during my incarceration, I will be elevating my mental to the most and to the maximum, experiencing my capability as far as getting my GED, give me a degree. You know, and take it from there, try to be a better father for my kids during my absence of their lifetime. So I can do it better myself. And like I said, I want to send sincere apology to the family, friends, and loved ones.
All right, it'll be the sentence of this court in the 2016 case where you plead guilty to trafficking in heroin, a felony of 5th degree, that you be confined in your Ohio Department of Corrections for a period of 1 year. And once you get out of prison, you may be placed in up to 3 years of post-release control, which is like parole. And if you're faced with post-release control, there are rules that you have to follow. If you violate the rules of post-release control, the parole authority could send you back to prison to serve more time. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the more time could be up to 1/2 of whatever you went to prison for in the first place.
Judge, could we briefly come to sidebar?
Parties have indicated to me that in the 2016 case, you pled guilty only to the involuntary manslaughter. So I stand corrected as far as the 50-degree felony drug offense. You didn't plead the drug offense in the 2016 case. So let me start over and tell you that in the 2016 case, it would be the sentence of this court on the involuntary manslaughter charge, which is found in the first degree, that you be sentenced 8 years in the Ohio Department of Corrections. And once you get out of prison, you will be placed in a mandatory 5 years of post-release control. And I was telling you about post-release control, that there are rules that you have to follow. If you violate the rules of post-release control, the parole authority can send you back to prison to serve more time. And the more time could be up to 1.5 or whatever you went to prison for in the first place. Now you have other felony level offenses that you pled guilty to or were found guilty to. And on those offenses as well, once you get out of prison, you may be placed on up to 3 years of post-release control on each of those. But the periods of post-release control will run together with one another. They don't stack on top of each other. So the grand total of post-release control that you're going to be sentenced to is a mandatory 5 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have a valid driver's license?
No, Your Honor.
And again, in the 2016 case, the court's going to order that you forfeit whatever interest you may have in the $955 that was seized by the police. And in the 2017 case, where you pled guilty to, where you were found guilty of aggravated possession of trafficking in drugs, felony of the 4th degree, it would be the sense of this court that you be confined in your Ohio Department of Correction for a period of 1 year. And I'm going to prohibit you from obtaining a driver's license in the state of Ohio for a period of 1 year. And again, once you get out of prison, you may be placed on up to 3 years of post-release control. I'm going to order that you pay the cost of the proceedings in each of the 2 cases. But I don't expect you to pay your court costs while you're in prison, and once you get out of prison, I'll give you plenty of time to pay your court costs. Plenty of time. If you need more time, I'll give you a little bit more time. But if the day comes in the future where you're either unwilling or unable to pay your court costs, the court could order you to perform community service to work off your court costs. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And they having weapons related disability charge, which is a felony of the 3rd degree. It would be the sense of this court that you be confined in the Ohio Department of Correction for a period of 3 years. And once you get out of prison again, you may be placed on up to 3 years of post-release control. I'm going to order all the periods of confinement to run together with one another for a grand total of 8 years in prison. concerned with the damage you're waiting for this case to be resolved. Attorneys, have I missed anything?
Only judge had asked the order to indicate that the firearm in this case should be returned to the owner upon proof of ownership.
Any issue with that?
No issue, Your Honor.
Then, of course, no order that you forfeit whatever interest you have in the firearm, and that firearm will either be destroyed or will be used by police office departments for training.
Judge, if the owner of the firearm can show proof of ownership, because it was a stolen firearm, then they can get it back.
Okay. So if the rightful owner comes forward and proves ownership, the firearm will go to that person. And that's the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Prosecutor's name is Joe D'Angelo.
And it's, there's no apostrophe or anything. Derrick Angelo.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, when it's fly, we don't believe it.